So, number 2, first thing we're going to look for, make sure it's a hyperbola. Okay? Again, Diamond, what's something that tells us this is a hyperbola? Yeah, the things that are squared. So there's 2 squared, so that makes it either a hyperbola or an ellipse. And since one of them is minus, that tells me that it is a hyperbola. So we're going to put it in order. The things that are squared go first, and the one that's positive goes first. So since that's a positive thing squared, 4x squared minus 32x plus blank. Then we do our y's next. So minus 9y squared minus 18y plus a blank equals the 19 goes the other side, negative 19 plus blank plus double blank. X's together, blanks, Y's together, blanks, everything else the other side. We put the Y's second because they were negative. Questions to that point? Once I do that, I'm going to try and factor something out if possible. Factor something out if possible. So essence, when we look at our X's here, what should we factor out? The 4 in front. Since there's a 4 in front, we're going to divide a 4 out of everything. So x squared minus 8x plus blank. Zach, what about the y's? What should I do there? Negative 9. Yeah, we want to take out all of that. Since there's a negative in front, we want to take it out. So we're going to take out a negative 9. That leaves me with y squared. Good. Sakia says plus 2y here. Sakia, y plus 2y? Because I divided by a negative 9, yeah. When I divided the 18 by a negative 9, it got me positive 2. Good. Equals negative 19 plus blank plus double blank. Since I took a 4 out of the first set here, I'm going to put a 4 in this blank. 4 times something. Since I took a negative 9 out of the second part, I'm going to put negative 9 over there times something. There's step 1. Organize and factor. Step 2 is filling in the blanks with half of b squared. Fill in the blanks with half of b squared. So Madison, what's going to go in my first blank? 16. Half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. We're taking half of b squared. There's 16. Malik, what about with my y's? What's going to go in that blank? 1. Half of 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So over here it's negative 9 times 1. That was step 2. Fill in the blanks. Step 3 is we're going to factor. We're making it pretty. We're completing the square. Factor, complete the square. Over here I've got negative 19 plus 64 minus 9. 36. Say again. Yep, now we're cutting them in half. So to fill in our blanks, we're taking half of b. So half of negative 8 is negative 4. Half of 2 is plus 1. I'm not done yet. Curtis says I need to divide everything by 36. I need it all equal to 1. So my answer here is going to be x minus 4, all squared. And I'm going to take 4 divided by 36 to get me 9. Minus y plus 1 squared. That's yeah, it's just going to be 4. It's negative 4. That's what tells us the negative in front. And then the last thing, 36 over 36 is equal to 1. There's my answer there, right there. Okay, what I want you to do now is I want you to graph it on your paper. Finish that graph. Label stuff and go. So when I start to graph it, first thing I'm going to do is find the center. X and then y. Change my sign. So negative 4 is 4. And the y says negative 1. You have to be careful. Make sure you're doing x and then y. 4, negative 1. 4, down 1. There's my center. Once I've gotten to there, I'm going to decide how much I go left and right, how much I go up and down. So Katie, how much do we go left and right from the center?
2.
That's going to be my y value. What's underneath my x?
9.
9. So we square root 9, and that tells us to go how much? 3. So we're going to go 3 each way. So, yeah, that's what I said. It's under... Because we go on the x-axis. Since it's under our x, just like we did with ellipse. Okay, just like we did with ellipse. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, left and right. Underneath my y is 4, so I go up and down 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Since it's a hyperbola, we're then going to make our box. So we're going to connect these 4 things with a box and add our asymptote lines. Remember, our asymptote lines go from one side to the other through the corners. So it's going to look, oh, I just moved that. So I'm going to go from this side here through the corner to the other. And then do the same thing going the other way. Just like that. Okay, the place you will make your next mistake is deciding which way are my parabolas going to open. Are they going to open up and down or left and right? Julio, why are they going to open left and right? Because x is first. When I look at this picture, since this is first, it's telling me that my parabolas are going to start, it's going to start on these outside, or these points here, and go that way. It doesn't like me to do that, so I won't do that anymore. Let's do this. From here, out. From here, out. Remember, we're getting really close to those lines, but not touching. Really close, but not touching. There's our parabola. Let's label stuff. When we talk about the transverse axis, that is the axis that connects the two parabolas. So in this case, it is at 1, -1, that point right there, and 7, -1, that point there. The conjugate's the other one. So it's at 4, 1, and 4, -3. We'll skip foci. We'll come back to that. Next thing is slope of the asymptote line. So when we look at the slope of an asymptote line, when we think of slope, what phrase do we always think about when we think slope? Rise over run. If we're talking about rise over run of this blue asymptote line, we're thinking how much did we go up and how much did we go over? Plus and minus 2/3. Plus or minus because one goes up and one goes down. Okay? The other way you can do it real easily is the numbers on the bottom up here. We square rooted 4 to get 2. Over the square root of 9 got me 3. Always the y over the x because we're doing rise over run. When we talk about foci, it is 4, -1. We need to decide, is the x value changing or is the y value going to change? X. Curtis, why is the x value going to change? Yeah, that's where the parabola's open. That's where the hyperbola opens to. So our foci need to be in between. We always take big plus, since it's a minus sign, the little. So 9 plus 4 gets me 13. We're going to square root 13 to tell me my C. 3.61. So from my center, 1, 2, 3.61. 1, 2, 3.61. They're pretty close there. So I'm going to write, add 3.61 to my x value. So it is 4 plus or minus 3.61, comma, -1. There's my graph. Questions?